Good day, everybody. Oshun, blessed be here. And today, firstly, I wanted to let my old subscribers know I am sorry. Please forgive me. I know it's been a while since I had stuff before. I mean, my YouTube channel is pretty much a few years old, and I wasn't really keeping up with it. And then I went on to this new app, which is the baby of it all, TikTok. And a lot of people started following me there. And then I am like, they keep asking me for my YouTube channel. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't really have anything on it anymore. I deleted some stuff because it was so long ago. And, you know, now that people are requesting that I go back on YouTube so that I could go, you know, explain things in length, because on TikTok it's about 1 minute. So, hi. To my new people, hi. To my older subscribers who still stay committed to me, hi. So, this episode is basically about me. Y'all find my life exciting. I don't. So y'all wanted to hear the story as to how I came to the realization that I had the abilities of Oshun. Now, as I said in my first video, it's something that I was born with, that I was scared of, because there were certain things, like I would be going to school. I noticed when I was going to school that as a child, when I reached the school, I would start to feel really, really sick. And when I reach home, I'm good. And when I reach the school, I'm sick again. And then I reach back home, I'm good. Sometimes I would be cold sweating. And to be honest, I never told my parents this, but when I go in school and I'm sick like that, is because I'm picking up everybody in my head. I hear in this one voice, that one voice, and I keep turning and asking my classmates, you hearing Miss talking? But look, Miss sitting down right there, she not saying anything. You hearing the principal walking down the hallway? No. And you know, it's like I'm hearing everybody, from cleaners, teachers, principals. It was like, I couldn't take it. And sometimes it used to just I used to get sick and cold sweat, and you know, and then sometimes the principal would send me home, and when I reach home, I'm good. And my mom used to be like, you sure you just be sick? You get sick when you're in school? Are you sure you're sick? So she never really accused me, but in the sense as she always wondered, how come I'm getting sick in school, and when I come home, I'm good, right? So it started off with that, but you know, I found, like, as I was getting older, I remember a teacher came, and she was giving out everybody their projects, their homework, because you have to drop your homework and they would correct it and give you back. And when she gave me my homework, her finger touched my hand, and I just like went into, I don't know if you remember that show called That's So Raven, how Raven would go, she zones out and she sees everything. It's like, I just went, when she touched me, it was like, and I just started talking all the woman business. Now, this is a big woman to me as a child. And I talking all the woman business for going on in her house, going on home. She just dropped my homework and she ran out of the class. I don't know what she said from what she didn't say to other teachers. I was so scared because I didn't want them to tell my parents, because remember, I was talking as a child, you know, talking to an adult, certain things that I'm seeing as, you know, that children not really supposed to be exposed. I was so scared. I was afraid that they would go home and call my parents, and they would go and call my parents. The only thing that happened with that, I didn't tell my parents anything. And the only thing that happened with that is that all of a sudden I noticed the teachers, they were kind of moving like afraid of me, I guess. They were kind of fearful of me. And that particular teacher, she started pelting homework at me, pelting my homework. She didn't want to touch me at all. And I felt hurt as a child. Felt hurt about it, really hurt. It was something that has, really impacted me. I was always considered the weird one in school. Reason being, especially during high school days. I mean, I had two friends in primary school, but in high school, I never really was much. As I was getting older and experiencing certain things, but that's another thing. When I became a teenager, I started having weird type of paranormal experiences where I was more seeing things, like seeing spirits and stuff like that. And I would be telling my parents about it, and they would be like, okay, My dad was more understanding of it. We get to that because my grandmother had a big part to play in that aspect. The whole thing about it is that when I was a teenager, I had some paranormal experiences where negative entities tried to attack me, where I would go to sleep and I would be getting up in the morning with scratches all on my skin and my back and things. Not knowing at the time that I was, starting to develop my astral projection. So because they saw like a fresh new person, young person doing this, they decided to try to, attack me. And it was a battle because I had to deal with that for a long freaking time. That's why I tell people, when I tell people I can astral project, and I've proven it to people, because I would sit where I am and I would leave and I would go and I would be in people's house. I would be in people's place. I would be all up in the business, and they want to know how I know that, and I never even went for there physically. So when I started to do that, I didn't do it at will. At the time, there were a lot of entities that tried to enter my body. I had to battle these things because they seeing fresh meat, so they saying to themselves, yes, we could hit that. Well, that was the mistake because I'm a bit of a warrior myself. I kind of, so it was not easy. So I would be going and coming back with scratches, and I would have marks on my skin, and as a teenager I had it all on my back. Sometimes I would feel like something wrong with me. And then when I go to school now, in high school, well, everybody considered me as the weird one. They always used to say I was the smart one, but the weird one. I never used to really mix up with friends. I was much of a friendly person. I was more secluded. I was more of an introvert. I was more to myself. I didn't want nobody touch me. Don't touch me. Don't come around me, because I don't want nobody energy around me. At the time, I didn't understand why I was like that. But now when I reflect on it, I could understand, because it was really tough for me. And it was interesting growing up, feeling like a loner and not being able to understand. I didn't understand myself. And I had some vivid dreams with Oshun. Oshun came to me many times. And when I went to battle, before the battle, when I used to, astral travel, I would end up in this place and it would be totally dark. And every time I go there, I couldn't see nothing. I couldn't even see my own self. And I would be feeling things crawl, pulling at me and tugging at me and biting me and pinching me, hitting me. And when I come back, scratches everywhere. Right. And every time I come back, she used to come to me and said, baby girl, you have to go back. And I'd be like, no, I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back. I used to cry. I used to be like, no, I don't want to go back there. Please don't let me go back. And she used to be like, you have to go back. And I did not want to go back there at all. And I would go back because she would keep nagging at me to go back. And every time I go back, the same thing over, and that happened for almost a year and more. You know, I'm getting up with marks on my skin all over, bite mark, black and blue marks. Where they come from, I don't know. My mother used to be like, what's going on with you? You understand? And it had one night, I just, I didn't want to go back. I actually begged her. She came to me, all dressed in the yellow, all dressed pretty. And she's like, Michelle, you have to go back. You have to go back. That's my name, Michelle. Michelle, you have to go back. And I'm like, no, please. And she's like, no. And she got strict with me. You have to go back. It's been almost a year and a half of going through this. Look at this. She didn't want to hear that shit. And I had to go back. And that particular night, I went. And they came and they started to claw at me, scratch at me, bite me, hit me. I was like, I couldn't take the shit no more. I was like, no. And I was like, as I did that, they just scattered. Now, I wasn't seeing anything around me. And I started running. And when I started running, I had this experience where I saw this little speck, just a little dust of light. And I ran up to that light because it was the only light in that whole place of darkness. And I went up to the light, and when I went up to the light, it opened up a little bigger. And when I stood up under it, it opened up even wider. It just was over my head. And I kept looking at this light, and from the time I looked up, this thing just opened up big, and it just started. All of a sudden, I just see this light just shoot down in me, and then I started to feel like a shock wave from my head go straight down to my toes. And that, my friends, that had me feeling like I became a different person. When I started walking around in the darkness, all of a sudden I'm seeing everything now. And I'm not seeing darkness anymore. I'm just seeing, like, wherever I walk, light is shining everywhere I walk. So I started to see these bastards that were attacking me for how many years. I said, oh, excuse my dialect. I said, oh, right. So that is, I'm now seeing all you. These creatures were pretty looking. And I started to kick ass. I started to kick some high-level ass. Came back feeling pretty powerful. And from that, I realized, what is this? Then in other dreams, she started coming and telling me certain things. She telling me how to make things, how to make certain things, how to do things for people, how to help people, certain potions and stuff to make. She taught me certain things, certain bush I could pick to do things. She taught me on a daily basis. And I learned it all. It came naturally for me. My grandmother, I'm going back to when I was before that happened. My grandmother really, she did tell me about certain things, and I was like, wasn't taking it on at all. And when I reflect back on me reaching to the point of getting that energetic light that shot through me. And I reflect on my grandmother. She did tell me about it, but she says it's gonna take some time for me to find myself, and it took me a while because I was still pretty much running from who I was, running from my gift. I was always worried that I would scare people because you have people now, they demonize African culture. When you're dealing with African culture, they demonize it, and that's because of the European culture that they inflicted upon us, right? That what we do is demonic. But when you investigate certain things with our culture, they have taken it and affiliated it with them, and then they whitewash it, of course, and make it look like that is good, and what we do is bad. Because so it was an interesting experience, really interesting experience. It was a frightful experience, and as I got older, still running from what I was, still not fully telling anyone or doing anything, but with that running, as Bob Marley said, you're running and you're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running, but you can't run away from yourself. I couldn't run because everywhere I went, I will end up reading somebody, sensing somebody in danger, picking up somebody in pain. And I always ended up helping somebody, no matter where I went to work, no matter if I'm traveling on the boat, no matter if I going on a plane, if I always picking up somebody. And it happened that I started getting a following before, internet and stuff was a big thing. I started getting people who knew me for that. But I didn't really go out there and tell anybody. I didn't tell anyone. And I always ended up doing things, helping people in spiritual aspect, and being the type of person I am, to improve themselves and to be better people after I do the reading and stuff. And that was going on for quite a while, and I honestly did not think that it would have, I would have reached to this point, because I always hid who I was. And many spiritual leaders told me, Miss Lady, you need to do your job. And I'm like, job? No. Right, gotcha. And I'm gone. I was in my singing career. I was doing well with that. But I always ended up in a situation where I had to help somebody. And I came to a realization that I couldn't run from this anymore. I couldn't run from what I was. I mean, so many spiritual leaders bounced me up. Then, the cowrie shells, these cowrie shells. I remember walking along the sea in Tobago. And I just minded my business, walking along the shore, because I love the sea, I don't know why. And I was walking along the shore, and these shells, about 10 of them, I would say 10 or more. I can't remember how much, it's about 10 or 12 or 15, I can't remember. But I would say about 10 and more, about 10 of them in a group, which I've never seen before. When the tide came in, it came and it washed up right by my feet. And I saw them and I picked them up. And I looked at them and I was like, okay, these are so pretty. And I kept it. Not too far off from when I was walking, there was a spiritual lady. I don't know how these people just want to meet me. Just bounce me up. And she saw me with them in my hand, washing them by the pipe. And she's like, you have a lot of work to do. You're very powerful, but you have a lot of work to do. And I was like, I just want these pretty shells. I'm going to make a chain. And I always had a fascination with shell jewelry and like bamboo and these type of jewelry. I always had a thing for that type of jewelry, like shells and stuff. So it was something that was always in me. So to get 10 of them at my feet, it was like, wow, you know. So I made a chain with it. Eventually I just had to accept myself. Back to now, I mean, I've been doing this for years now, but at that time when I came to the self-realization, I just said, you know what, I don't care who's scared, who not scared, I don't care about that. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And if I'm given a gift to help others, why should I have to be afraid of myself? Because as I said, growing up in a Christian home, people frown upon these things and they see it as demonic, you're possessed or something. Because if you have those gifts, they consider you as, you know, you have demon possession. So it's only Jesus could walk on water then. It's only Jesus had spiritual stuff to do. He could do that. I know it had the other disciples that, let me not go there now. Let me not go there. Right? Because as I said, they whitewashed our beliefs into theirs. Right? So I started connecting more with my ancestors. I don't just manifest Oshun, I manifest other Orishas that come to me a lot. Last night was a crescent moon. I didn't even realize that until I got up early this morning and I looked outside and I realized what's going on, because that is Oshun moon. So when I saw it, I started to go into deep meditation, and then Shango started to kick up and he started to hit lightning. I ain't hear Oya at all. Shango was kicking up this early this morning. Yeah, I know my stuff. And I sat down there and did my meditation, and it was like such a great feeling. And then back to my day where I deal with people and helping people. And I want people to know I would be pretty much taking my time, you know, with people, with improving themselves and finding who they are. Do not try to be like someone else. You have to go on your own journey. That's what I had to do, find myself, right? Do not try to be like someone else. If you don't know you don't have what someone else has, that doesn't mean you should covet what that person has. You should find yourself, find your own niche, find your own self within your spirituality. Because if you try to be like someone else, you will never, ever, ever find yourself spiritually. And you will never be able to elevate. So, 23 minutes, 24 seconds. I think I'm good telling all you my business. You all have a blessed one. Love, peace, and joy from Oshun. And this is Oshun and me. You all have a blessed day.